So we're done with our doctrine of human good, and we'll go over them a few verses ahead. And for now, if you still need to, if you did not understand it, I refer you back to the previous videos, the previous doctrines of divine good, also the doctrine of human good. Or I refer you back to your notes, if you're taking notes. If you're not taking notes, I warn you, there's going to come a day when you're going to wish you took notes of many things so that you can have an easy reference. You could just easily turn back to your notes and find the answer instead of having to go through the whole video. Where did he say this? Just, I'm warning you. It's a terrible feeling when you cannot find something that you want to go back and hear and listen to. Someone's going to make you doubt. Some heretic. And he's going to tell you something, but this is a wrong doctrine. And you're going to say, no, I know this is the right doctrine. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see back what verse he said is, and you're not going to be able to find it because you did not write these things down. Well, everyone makes their own decisions. We're going to go over the doctrine of the tree of knowledge of good and evil later on, not yet. Let us advance with our verses here. We're going to begin verse 6, but let us go over our translation. Chapter 8, verse 1. I make known to you, members of the royal family of God, brothers, the grace of God which has been given in the churches of Macedonia, that in the sphere of severe testing for the purpose of approval of pressure, dealing with pressure, the overflow of their happiness plus their deep down poverty welled up, resulting in the riches of their gracious generosity. Verse 3. I testify that out of their own volition they gave according to their ability and even beyond their ability. With much insistence they pleaded with us this grace, that is, the participation in the ministry for the saints. Verse 5. And not as we expected, but rather they gave themselves first and foremost to the Lord, then to us, through the will of God, by the will of God. Now, verse 6. One of the results of this is they urged Titus to go ahead and make the same collection in the Corinthian churches. Verse 6 in the NIV says, so we urged Titus, just as he had earlier made a beginning, to bring also to completion this act of grace on your part. So there's not much to improve in this translation, but let's go over the Greek. I want you to be catching on to the Greek. I'm not saying for you to become a Greek scholar and go back and learn classical Greek, Attic Greek, Ionic Greek, so that you can be able to understand Koine Greek and learn these different types. No, not at all. But learning the Greek and seeing why these things are put together is going to help you understand a lot of things about doctrine. So do not reject the Greek and say, I don't really need this. I just need the doctrine for myself. You know, what am I going to be applying Greek in my spiritual life? No, but learning Greek helps you understand the things about the spiritual life a little bit easier. So I don't know if there's anyone rejecting the Greek principles that I'm sharing with you. I'm trying to make this easier so that you can see the Greek, so that at the end you can see the doctrine from the Greek. Okay, so verse 6. Eis plus the articular participle infinitive of parakaleo. We've seen parakaleo many times, but first of all, eis plus the articular infinitive often is used for purpose or result. This is here result. Parakaleo is often translated urge, appeal, to exhort, to motivate, to encourage. Here we're going to translate it to urge in terms of insisting Titus. They saw what the Macedonian churches did, how they gave themselves first and foremost to the Lord, and then to them by the will of God. How about you do this? How about you hurry up and go to the Corinthian church so that we can collect this grace? Not only to send it back to the Jerusalem church, but to see where they're at spiritually, because we're going to see up ahead in verse 8 that this is going to be a quasi-spiritual test to see whether they've advanced all the way to gate 5 of the divine power sphere, spiritual adulthood. It begins with spiritual self-esteem, gate 5. And they're trying to see whether they are there already, or how far they are. And that's in verse 7 and verse 8. So we're going to translate parakalesai, urge. Literally, it'd be something like with the result to urge. So we're going to go with the result that we urged. That's better English. Again, ace plus the article and its infinitive is often translated as purpose or result. Also epexegetical, but that's a little bit rare. With the result that we urged. And so this is the aorist tense. Aorist tense is constitutive for the time that they urged Titus, collecting it into one totality. The active voice, Paul and his team produced the action of the verb of urging Titus to go and make the collection. And the infinitive goes with eis to express this result. With the result that, and then what do you know about the infinitive? If you see two accusatives here, one of these has to be the subject. We do not need a nominative. Most of the time, the subject that produces the action of the verb is an infinitive. So we have here an infinitive, which is the subject of an accusative, that's the subject of the infinitive. Which one of these two are? Because hemas is an accusative, titos is an accusative as well. Obviously is us. We urged hemas. We urged titos. So hemas, the accusative plural of ego, produces the action of the infinitive. With the result that we urged, Paul and his team urged him. They insisted for him to go. We urged, and then we have the accusative, which serves as the object of the infinitive. We urged Titus. With the result that we urged Titus. They're both accusatives. How do I know it's not Titus that produces the action of the infinitive? Well, this is where context helps you out. What would it read? With the result that Titus urged us, and then later on we're going to find that it's one person doing the collecting, so it is not compatible. It's we urged Titus. We see that Titus is the one that's doing the collection. Titus is the one that was in Corinth. So it makes sense from the context and from the syntax over here that it's we urged Titus, not Titus urged us. With the result that we urged Titus, that. And so now we have hina plus a subjunctive up ahead, a subjunctive all the way over here of epiteleto. Okay, so hina plus the subjunctive. But in between, we have something, just as. So with the result that we urge Titus that he bring to completion the grace. But in between is a clause, just as he began before. So in the English, it would be something that, with the result that, bring to completion, but in between is a comma, just as he began before. But let us go over this. So we have a comparative conjunction of katos, just as. We're going to translate that way. And then we have this word here, and it's the aorist active indicative of proenarkomai. It is a compound word. This compound word is made out of pro, en, plus archomai. Archomai is the middle voice of archom. Archom means to rule, but archomai means to begin, to commence. En archomai, remove the pro for right now. En archomai means to commence on, to begin on. But with pro means before, so it means to commence on before. Commence. He began before. He had previously began. So that's how we're going to translate it. He had previously begun. Yes. So, just as, here, katos, just as he had previously begun. Katos plus the indicative. he now goes with the subjunctive all the way over here. Just as he had previously begun. And then hutos. This is an adverb. In thus manner, in this way, thus. Just as, so also. And so we have these two correlatives here, just as, so also. Just as he had began, so also let him finish. But we have this he now over here with the subjunctive. So this is a purpose. Wait, pardon me. Hina is also, it's a direct object clause. They urged him something, and he now serves as the object. What are they about? What they urged him, or about what they ordered him? And so that he bring to completion. So all this serves as the object. Hina is the object clause, direct object clause. Yes, it might be a little bit confusing. It's kind of like I'm telling you, I order, you order something. I order that you sit down. That you sit down is the whole object. I ordered you something. I is the subject, order is the verb, and obviously we need a direct object, but the direct object is the whole clause. I order that you sit down quietly and not speak and open that big mouth of yours ever again. That's the whole object there. Same here with this, ina is the direct object. So with the result that we urge Titus that just as he had begun, previously begun, so also that he epitelese. This is the aorist active subjunctive of epiteleo, means to complete, thoroughly, to accomplish. And so we're going to translate it as bring to completion. It's a culminative aorist. It regards in one entirety the act of collecting the grace, but regards it from the results, which is the final result, the whole collection for the Jerusalem believers. The active voice, Titus produces the action of the verb, and the subjunctive here completes the direct object clause of hina plus the subjunctive. It is not purpose, it is not result, it's a direct object clause. But it's a little bit confusing because we have a comparative here. That he bring about to completion, but before that just as he began before, so also he bring to completion. And where's the direct object of bring to completion? Here. Dain, charin, dautein. And so this is the accusative direct object of grace. This grace. And then we have a demonstrative adjective, dautein, of hutos, dautein. The demonstrative and the object that demonstrative is modifying, they obviously agree in their number, case, and gender. Accusative, singular, feminine. This grace. This the grace. What does it say? This grace. And then ace plus the accusative of humas, towards you, with reference to you, with respect to you. That he bring about to completion this grace with respect to you, or with reference to you. Now we have a translation. Hopefully you saw what this is, how we form this this translation. Okay. With the result that we urged Titus that just as he previously begun, that he also bring to completion this grace with reference to you, to y'all, Corinthians. Not the Macedonians, he already used them as an example. It is the Corinthians. So we can now begin back here so that we can see how we form all this. And not as we expected, but rather they gave themselves first and foremost to the Lord, then to us by the will of God, with the result that we urge Titus that just as he had previously begun, so also that he bring to completion this grace with reference to you all.